we're going to have a drop-in question and answer session for residents on April 20th at the Ship Shape Community Center. And I will be there, and I believe Dave Clark will be there as well. And that's an informal session where you can come in with questions, concerns, and talk to Dave and I about environmental questions that the Navy could answer. And then I believe Mr. Beck will be there too, and perhaps some housing providers as well will be at the meeting. And that'll be another opportunity to ask really broader questions than tonight. Tonight we have to focus, we're required to focus in this meeting on just this site and just our proposed plan. So please bear with me, bear with us, if we have to be focused on that. We're required to hold a meeting that focuses on that tonight. So this is not a meeting to focus on other things about Treasure Island or other sites on Treasure Island. There'll be other times for that, I promise you. But tonight we definitely need to focus on this. Okay, so we'll have a presentation here. And then we'll open up request for public comments for the record. That's when anyone here will have an opportunity to come up to the microphone, announce your name so that Christine can put that in the record, and then whatever you say is in the official transcript, and that'll be part of a permanent record. So that'll become part of the process. It will also be something that the Navy is then required to respond to in writing. Okay? So just keep that in mind, that gather your thoughts, come up to the microphone, announce who you are, and then whatever you want to say, it can be a question, it can be a comment, anything you want to say, that's fine, but Christine does have to get that down word for word. And then the Navy's required in writing in our next document to respond. Okay? So with that, we will move on to our presentation. And already, I think we're up against a challenge here. I hope you can see that with the sun at this angle. Can you? Some of you are nodding yes. Okay. I hope so. If not, take this opportunity now if you want to move around the room and get a better view of it. Okay, so there is a process. For everything in the government, of course, there's a process, right? An environmental cleanup of this island and of this site, which we call Site 12, is no exception to that. There's a process. And there's a whole process that takes years and involves different steps. And each of these steps is named here. And you can also read this in your handouts when you take them home. But I just wanted to let you know the takeaway from this slide is we're right here. So we started here, we've done a lot of gathering of data, we've done a lot of testing of the soil and the groundwater in your neighborhood, in the residential neighborhood, which is Site 12. And we're to the point where we've analyzed all that data, we've come up with different choices, and tonight we're going to review this document called the Proposed Plan, Draft Remedial Action Plan. A mouthful for a document, right? Well, I'm only half responsible for that as a federal guy. So I represent the Navy, the U.S. Navy, which of course is the federal part of it, right? Our title for this document is called the Proposed Plan. Medes and Nathan represent the state of California. Their title for this document is the Draft Remedial Action Plan. And Nathan Schumacher will talk a little bit about that after I get done with my part. But I just want to let you know we are right here, which means, what does this really mean? Tonight we're going to show you what the Navy's recommended course of action for this particular site is, okay? And that's where we're at. We're proposing that. And we need community input, and part of that is tonight, to get input on what we're talking about and what our recommendation is. Now, we couldn't get to this point if we hadn't done a lot of testing and analyzing, and also working closely with the regulators, the state of California and the Regional Water Board, because they agree, they concur with our choice for this proposed plan. So you need to know that we've already worked with the regulators as we're required to do, and so that it's the Navy's proposed plan and draft remedial action plan, but the regulators have already weighed in heavily on looking at every aspect of this and are ready to move forward with us in agreeing to make the choices that we think are the best for this site. So we'll get into those details just shortly here. Okay. After this, I just want to tell you, is the next step, which will happen this summer, is another document. It's not field work, but it's another document. It's called Record of Decision. And that's when you go from a proposal here to the actual formal decision. Okay? And we only do that once we've had more regulator input, more city input, and more resident public input. And every one of the comments that you make tonight, the microphone, or any of the comments that you email to me, because I do get emails with formal comments on this too, or any letters you send me, have to be put in this record. And there's a section of that record of decision, where we have to show that in writing, what you've either said or written, and then the Navy's required to formally respond to you. And that's part of the permanent record forevermore. So that's part of the process. Okay, let's move on.